registration.
Who can vote?
Any U.S. citizen who is 18 years or older
Has been a Michigan resident for 30 days
and is not currently serving a sentence in jail or prison
can vote in Michigan. Do I need to register to vote?
While you may be eligible to vote,
You also need to register to vote.
In Michigan, you can register to vote when you are 17 and a half.
You can also pre-register to vote at the age of 16, and you will automatically be registered when you turn 17 and a half.
you can register online, by mail,
or in person at the clerk's office.
I'm out of state.
Can I register to vote in Michigan?
As long as you've lived in Michigan.
Even if you have just been in college for even 30 days before the election,
You can register and vote here.
should I register at my campus address or my permanent family address?
Choosing between registering at a campus address or permanent family address is completely up to you.
you have a right to register and vote at either address.
But you cannot vote twice.
Even if in different states.
You should consider what voting method you want to use when thinking about where you should register.
How do I check if I'm registered to vote?
Check your voter registration in Michigan by going to mi.gov/vote and click Am I Registered?
If you are outside of Michigan, you can use the National Association of Secretaries of State website by going to the link on the screen.
nass.org/canivote.
What are the important deadlines for voter registration?
The most important thing to remember is to register early.
More than 14 days before an election, you can register online, by mail, or in person.
The key is you have options.
However, within 14 days of an election, you can only register to vote in person at your local clerk's office.
Within the last 14 days, you also need to provide proof of residency.
An official document that has your name and the address you are registering at.
Such as a lease, a bank statement, utility bill, or government document.
But I live in a residence hall.
I don't have a utility bill or lease.
How do I register?
Luckily for students, any document from your college or university that has your name and campus address counts as proof of residency, so you can use it to register to vote.
You can even show a university web portal on your phone as long as it has your name and address.
Voter registration is easy and simple in Michigan.
But you need to update your registration every time you move.
Even if you're just moving to the other side of campus.
What if it is election day and I haven't registered to vote?
If you haven't registered to vote and it's election day,
It is no problem.
In Michigan, you can register to vote on election day.
Simply go to your local clerk's office with your proof of residency.
Voting.
While making sure you're registered to vote is important, it is just the first step.
You need to make sure to fill out a ballot to have your voice heard.
There are many different ways to vote.
Absentee voting, early voting, and election day voting.
Absentee voting. Absentee ballots are the earliest voting option.
Before an election, absentee ballot applications can be completed online.
By mail or dropped off at your clerk's office.
You will receive your ballot by mail and fill it out.
The ballot comes with a prepaid postage stamp, making dropping it in the mail convenient.
You can also return it at your absentee drop box location.
Or in person at your clerk's office before or on election day.
After you've sent in your absentee ballot,
You can track the status of your ballot for any updates or issues.
At michigan.gov/vote.
Absentee voting takes time, so be proactive. In-person early voting.
The next voting option is in-person early voting, which is new to Michigan.
Early voting operates like voting on election day, but is available for a minimum of 9 days before election day.
Early voting sites are different from your typical election day site.
there may be only 1 or 2 early voting sites in your entire county.
You will also need to already be registered to vote early.
Some clerks may offer voter registration at early voting sites,
But in most cases, you should go to your clerk's office if you are not registered already.
The most important thing to remember about early voting:
the days, times, and locations of early voting sites will vary a lot in different communities.
Make sure to check your early voting site options at mi.gov/vote.
Election day voting.
Last but not least, election day voting is the last voting option.
polls open at 7 a.m. and close at 8 p.m. local time.
If you are in line by 8 p.m., you can still vote after 8, so don't leave the line.
On election day and at early voting, they will ask for a photo ID. You can use your student ID or a valid driver's license from any state.
And you have plenty of other options.
Right here.
However, if you don't have an ID with you, you can still vote in Michigan.
You will simply have to sign a statement that you don't have an ID with you and can vote as normal.
On election day, there are thousands of polling precinct locations across the state.
Check where your voting location is online at mi.gov/vote.
If you're not registered on election day, you can still register and vote at your local clerk's office.
So, what voting method works best for you?
If you want to vote in your home state or get your ballot taken care of plenty of time before election day, absentee voting may be for you.
If you want to vote on your schedule without needing to worry about mail, early voting is a great option.
And if it is election day and you haven't voted yet, go to the polls and cast your ballot.
In the end, it doesn't matter what voting method you choose, as long as you vote.
Why should I vote?
So we have talked a lot about how to vote, but why is voting so important anyway?
In a democracy, voting is essential.
Students can influence policies that impact their education, employment prospects, and quality of life.
Students influence their future by voting.
Students often bring fresh perspectives to issues like climate change, social justice, healthcare, and economic policies. Politicians listen to their voters more often than not. So when students vote, politicians listen.
Can my vote even make a difference?
Many elections are decided by a small number of votes. Sometimes a singular vote can decide an election.
This is especially true at the local level, giving students the ability to shape their local community.
So let's do a quick recap.
Register to vote for the first time or check and update your voter registration.
Right here.
Make a plan to vote. If it is by mail, early voting during the 9 days, or voting on election day.
Your vote matters, so remind your friends to vote.
And do it all again the next election.
Vote.
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 Vote, 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 vote.